Vivien and his grandson, Cheese, 20 years old, keep on high alert, particularly with the old ride they use to get to their coffee plantation. The car is perhaps a few years too old for this mountain business.
It's boiling, overheating also.
The Japanese car is exhausted from the mountain incline. A bit of fresh water should let it finish the journey, but it is close to breaking point.
No. It's all me come take to nothing now go on. It's going hard, man. Water pressure strong. It's building up a lot of pressure in the radiator.
I anticipated so I give it to just back already.
The car agreed to carry on, but a few hundred metres further on, the engine doesn't have the strength to face the steep hill. The two coffee farmers turn around. For the grandfather and his grandson, it's the same story as every morning. Struggle after struggle. But they never give up. From an aerial view, the island of Jamaica is a small paradise, bordered by beautiful white sand beaches. Reggae on every street corner, a peaceful way of life for the chilled Jamaican locals. However, so much for the postcard image. When you dig a little deeper, the island shows another face. Out of its 2.8 million population, 17% live below the poverty line. In the Blue Mountains, farmers may grow one of the most expensive coffees in the world, but is the journey to the fields worth the harvest?
We have to stop about 10 times or even more. Oh, I'm young. I have a lot of energy, but right now, I'm very tired.
Everyone manages as best they can. For a little money, they don't hesitate to take risks.
Look there, look. I don't afraid of the rat, but I don't want him biting. We'll get rabies from the bat.
These miners discover a rare and unsuspected treasure. The biggest income for Jamaica remains tourism. Burrow is looking for new tour routes. He's having a hard time, but he sees the glass half full.
People are watching these movies just to see adventures, where they could be living an adventure.
These country roads aren't a game, but whatever happens, Jamaicans have a golden rule. Even in the face of danger, you must keep your cool.
We're going down the rough road, but we still are trod on.
Life in this area of Kingston, Jamaica is punctuated every day by the big sound, as they say. It comes from this strange machine, an unidentified rolling object, as its inventor calls it. Kenroy couldn't afford to open a shop, but he had a motorbike and a good idea. He became a record shop on wheels. 6 months later, his 120 decibels attracts customers like a magnet.
your body and spin it. Girl, when you bubble,
yeah, man, I'm a big star, man. The people that love me, man. Yeah, man, them can't stop loving me because the music nice and I give them very good. Every day they tell me, I'm in love to see it, though. I'm in love to blessing and sing. Yeah, man. So that's the settings, you know? We have to do all over, show them we love.
so good.
What's that?
150.
Thanks to his rolling disco, Kenroy, also known as DJ Flex, knows no borders. His music spreads into the surrounding districts. On the motorway, he's going 90 kilometres per hour. His speakers keep up, but his engine is struggling.
The problem is I'm going to check it out if if this plug fly or anything. I was driving about 100 on the highway, going real good because at first I'm beating out the engine like that. Maybe it's that is the problem. It just kind of does cut down speed and does lock off. I'm going to play music to go and relax and wait and, you know, get a good mate.
The repairman will arrive when he can. Nothing slows down DJ Flex. This bus lane is perfect for sales.
Yeah, I was driving. This is DJ Flex. A long time ago, long time. I buy a CD from him for like 3 or 4 years now. I didn't be long before that. Because him have the best man, they mix them bad mix.
Yeah, man.
One ice.
Just down the street.
Yeah, man.
And I'll be good.
Even though I break down, I'm still making business. That could look the same way. Don't know it going on. That's the hustling.
According to Kenroy, this is the Jamaican spirit, bouncing back at the slightest problem.
I'm giving you one more chance.
The country's road networks aren't in bad condition. However, in the Blue Mountains, the tracks are numerous, and there's no hesitation to come and adventure here. Burro is a tourist explorer. That is to say that he's looking for a new circuit for holidaymakers seeking an adrenaline rush. And given the state of the taxis, there is already reason to be on edge.
Like how this vehicle look like this, brother. You sure this can take us up to the Blue Mountain, man?
Right to the mountain, right to the mountain. So you're going
because
up.
This car look, I don't know if this would make it.
I am 51 and I born come meet this vehicle.
Yeah?
This vehicle is the first set of vehicle in the police army, in the police force. So I don't know how old it is.
The Blue Mountains hold many secrets that tourists are itching to discover. The trick is to reach the villages. But that's another story for Burro.
This is serious, man. This road is serious. Yeah, this road is really serious, man. Expect the unexpected, you know?
As the car doesn't stick to the dirt ground very well, when necessary, the passenger climbs up onto the bonnet. He puts weight on the front wheels, and even if the ravine isn't nearby, you have to know how to stay cool, as they say.
So them want the thing went long like China wall. When me buck it to the home, it reach all the bars. When them not see me, them a give a phone call. Them not know so we have. They're at the end down, but we not this is princess.
The driver was right. His old car may be over 50 years old, but it's reliable. Even though this car is much younger, at 25 years old, it doesn't resist the tracks. In the mountains, Mutual help is a must.
Car breakdown, the car breakdown, you know?
Neutral, it's neutral.
Neutral up and not going in drive, you know?
Not moving.
Yeah. Come. So you see if we can get him out of the road. Rock it again. Yeah, man.
This is the job.
Rastafari.
A few kilometres down the road, a second driver is in trouble. Many would lose patience, but Burrow jumps at the chance to help.
Carburetor.
Yeah, rev up the van, rev up the van. Yeah, man, this is really an adventure today, man. And this adventure made me more serious to continue this type of tour. Yeah, because people are watching these movies just to see adventures, where they could be living an adventure.
In the mountains of Jamaica, one doesn't have to look far for adventure, especially as the village is still far away.
Blue Mountain Trail I do it. Yes, I the Blue Mountain Trail I do it. And if for some good mountain you are sick, me tell them that the Blue Mountain Trail I do it. And the Blue Mountain Trail I do it.
The song praises the beauty of the landscapes, only it forgets to talk about the chaos that lines the tracks of the Blue Mountains. Considering how old the cars are that drive through these mountains, life is very complicated. Vivian and his grandson Cheese know the struggle too well. Getting to their coffee plantation is an ordeal. Just the day before, their 4x4 broke down again. The car looks to be on its last legs. Only the old man's ingenuity can keep it alive.
Yeah, this is a convertible gas tank. The original gas tank, the original tank did rotten out. But when the gas not so plenty, we just use the jug. As long as we don't have any fire, we won't have any problem. Only if we have fire like with light and things like that, we don't have a problem. That is the gas cable. This is much like a bicycle cable brake. Because I have no top, I cannot afford to buy one. When it's raining, I have no protection.
It might rusty up and all, but it still can carry. The engine part is working properly.
The grandfather and grandson's plantation is 15 kilometres higher up, a 15-kilometre ordeal.
It's very wet. There's a lot of grasses on both sides and even in the middle of the road. So we have to... So as you can see, it's very difficult to go over. And we have to hold on tight. Because as you can see, it's very rocky.
Moisture is the friend and the enemy of coffee. If this grandfather and grandson don't pick the fruit every day, part of the crop will be damaged. Today, Vivian and Cheese won't reach their field. The radiator has just broken.
I don't take out the radiator. Just the hose. Treat it out the bend. I cut it to get it more straight. But the bend is still there.
Soon the coverings won't be enough. The car will have to be replaced. But with what money? The coffee doesn't bring in as much as it used to. Thanks to his farm, Vivian was able to build a house big enough for the whole family. He's been able to raise his grandson, fatherless since he was 2 years old. He would like Cheese to take over, but his daughter and his wife, who manage the accounts, don't agree.
Maybe get a skill going to the soldier, police, something.
For me, I would rather my grandson to go to foreign. America, especially?
I prefer to stay in the countryside. So when I fly out, who will cook me dinner for me?
But you can't cook your own dinner?
No, but some of my time prefer to cook for me.
There's a lot of fast food in America, so you don't have to cook.
Fast food not good for you.
Yeah, well, it's time to go.
Bye.
Or the woke black boy will give you the problem.
They will try for the third time to harvest their coffee. Like Viviana Cheese, many Jamaicans struggle every day to get enough to eat. On the other side of the island, men struggle and sweat to get their daily bread.
Every time I have to come to the cave, I have to clean this road. I have to chop this place, for if I don't chop it every week, every month it grows back.
Boots and Solji are heading towards the evil cave, as they call it. The legend says that anyone who enters it risks being trapped there forever. However, it's not this danger that worries them.
Look there, look.
Thousands of bats hang from the roof of the cave. Boots and Solji don't hunt them, but they collect something else.
The problem, the rats will only shit on you. Not too funny. It is something we're used to every day. It just feel like a little sun grain drop on you. Don't just feel cool and ready.
The flying mammals have been defecating in the caves for hundreds of years, and over time, their excrement has turned into a great fertilizer. It's this soil that they come to collect.
This is good for fertilizer, cabbage, tomato, sweet pepper, everything. Good for it. Good fertilizer for everything. For no chemical, natural fertilizer.
While he digs, Boots is never fully at ease.
I don't afraid of the rat bat. I don't want him bite me. If the rat bat bite me, it could be clerk. The doctor told me that it could be poison in your body. So you don't make the rat bat come closer. You could get rabies from the bat. So I keep the light where me are so the rat bat keep away from me. If I don't want him to do the palm in a bite. The further we go in the cave, less oxygen. We can't breathe so good. Sometimes I have to go for half an hour, 25 minutes and come back in. And then I start work. Because I want to collapse in the cave.
Yeah. The most one I don't want to attack me is the snake. Some of them are very angry, vicious. They take you.
I'm a 21-year-old, I do this stuff. So it's not now. Several years. I know me at 55. So I didn't want to do it for 23 years. I will do it for myself, but I will never let my children do it. Too hard for them. I tell you straight from my heart. So that's why when I work for myself, I work for my kids, I them can better off in life. I have to do this job.
This bag of soil sells for €10, a decent sum in Jamaica where the average salary is only €350. Being able to sell their produce still takes a bit of courage.
That's really bad road. That's really bad road, my friend. Really bad road.
It takes an hour on the motorbike and half an hour on foot to get to their best customer. Jason grows marijuana, but not just any marijuana.
So the time, bad shit. You look at this. This is like good gold.
Good for the marijuana,
Yeah,
you know?
this is, we have, let's say, like 3,000 plants. 6 different strains here right now. From this side to this side, it's all Dark Star, yeah? So all of these plants are actually ready to harvest. Just a few more days and they're ready to go.
Since 2015, Jamaicans have been allowed to grow marijuana for therapeutic purposes and small amounts for personal consumption.
My Ganja Win Award. Yeah, the Stepping High.
Every year, an international jury elects the best marijuana in the world.
These are my babies. I just put bad shit on and put water on, mineral water, and they just love it. They just keep bearing and keep smiling. Yeah, man, it's a blessing. So I say, up to the time, yeah.
The medical herb has a drug content close to 0, but the plant is said to relieve some chronic pain. In Kingston, the capital, it isn't therapeutic cannabis that circulates the streets. Drugs are a plague for Jamaicans. Close to the United States, Jamaica has become a hub. Gangs regularly clash. The city is far from being safe. With his disco on wheels broken down on the highway, the repairman comes to help Kenroy. Both of them work to fix the vehicle.
What's next bag on here? Oh, you can carry it down like with your thing then.
So if I keep your finger crossed. Are the gas in the car then? Something I know nothing wrong with that, don't?
Yes.
I wonder which one of them gas station data come from.
The two men aren't fazed by the buses that pass them by.
Here is a green farm area, bad community. We have gang violence, shooting, robbery. So we have to just be careful, be vigilant, and like we pass by, they will maybe come and rob us because I don't know, we don't have any link, we don't have any family here. So we have to just be vigilant and look out of the way and be careful.
Kenroy lives in one of the poorest areas of the capital. He shares a house with friends, and his collection of CDs isn't exactly legal.
But 1,000, plenty. Some of the time when I done burn CD, I can't lift it up. Yeah, man, very weighty, plenty.
But you can't afford to buy the songs,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you copy them.
Yeah, we copy them. We pay for the internet. And we pay for the internet, we get everything on it. Today, so I'm going to go in the Garrison area. We call it the ghetto. Yeah, we're going to bring the gospel and the souls, you know, to the people there. Never look out for me, man. Yeah.
Today, the DJ on Wheels goes to sell his CDs to the inhabitants of the biggest dumping ground in the Caribbean. Two and a half thousand people live here, looking for scrap metal to sell. This is one of the most dangerous places in the capital.
Wagwan! Yeah, not forward.
Kenroy is at home here, with his music he brings joy.
Wagwan. Big up, big up. You know a special? Give me one there.
You know, I can find my girl to support. I know, say, whenever boost my business. So I love what I do.
Be a workers there, say, you know? Real scrap metal workers. It's dangerous. No, alright, you see a chocolate pot, the rubbish? Yeah, man, I say, my stove, my washing machine, and you can't touch that else a war. Man all dead over loom on the dump.
There, I pick up some metal, you know, some loom, carry go sell for make some money. You know, once you know, say, yo, you go out there and you find it, sometimes you must find it, but you don't know, say, yo, food have to eat. Tell you the truth, you know, enough people out there, go to school, graduate, left with no much in subject and still can't get no work, and they have to come here and dig feet. So I don't really say we have to do it, but we don't have a choice. Alright, fine, I'm just getting some metal.
Yeah. Oh.
15 pounds. And Tony's very popular here.
Why?
Well, because I'm good on the pot making and them things. You know, say you have to have pot for cook your food in and them because something there, soup pot, spoon, fork, you know, say them things there is essential. So something where you have to use that is a must.
For 20 years, this dump has allowed Tony to survive.
See how my castle stay where me hang out? It's at my house. Now me tell you, so me not have nothing to pay for dangles in my castle. You know. Yeah, it's working here. TV is ready, it's playing here. Yeah, but over there it was trying.
Next to his house, Tony has built a shed and his aluminium foundry.
Constant, it was kerosene oil first. But to the value of the kerosene oil, more time, me not have the current adding on to it now, me come across the used oil and test it. And see that, yeah, it can work. So that's what I'm used to melting the recycling. This is my line. I take the hose to the furnace. Oh, there's a pipe cock. So if I put on more oil on it, it will be up here. Because it's a motor now, you have flow in the air. It's the recycle, it's up by the dump, same way it came.
And it works, and quite well, but it's not very environmentally friendly. This mini smelter still heats up to over 600 degrees centigrade, enough to melt aluminium.
I am proud of it. That's where it's all begin from, an engineer. I take an engineer to...
Once the aluminium is poured into the clay moulds, it takes the shape of not only pots and pans.
I just make this face. It's a part of the artwork. But these pieces like looking upon the TV and see Bob's face and thing. Because he's an icon. And most of all, he's a Rasta man. So out of this thing what I'm doing, if it's not the Marley face, more time it's the pot I would soul one. And I'm still not giving up. There's no limit. It's to the whole extent. You can do it. So I'm going more. That's what I'm doing.
In the Blue Mountains, Vivian and his grandson Cheese aren't giving up either, even if everything seems to be working against them. The old 4x4 is dragging on the track. The two men try to harvest their coffee before the humidity spoils the beans. But the machine is breaking down constantly. After a 3-hour drive to cover a mere 15 kilometres, they arrive at their plantation. Vivian and Cheese grow Blue Mountain coffee, one of the most expensive on the planet. The Japanese are so fond of it that they consume 3/4 of the country's production. But the two farmers rarely see the result of its success. Cheese wonders about his future.
So, grandfather, what do you think about the coffees now? Do you think we're going to make money off of it in the future when I really start taking it up from you?
We don't know what happened to the price of the coffee, why it continues going down instead of going up.
So for the future, promise that we're not going to let the farm. We try to advocate for the price of it to go up so we can make a profit out of it in the future when you pass on the farm to me and I can employ some other people so they can also make a profit and maintain their families.
So I'm proud of you. You know, as a young youth and you take up the farming and you do down the road haggling and things like that. Bad company always end up in jail, dead house and those things. Police kill them, bad boy kill them and things like that. Anytime you mix up in bad company, all those things, you always mix up, end up in bad way.
At the end of the harvest, the same journey back awaits the grandfather and his grandson, and time is running out.
Because it's help if we carry out the coffee, and whenever time it breaks down is a problem, it going to spoil.
We maybe have to just leverage what we pick now.
Their 4x4 proves again to make their lives complicated.
Full, show some gas in the carburetor bowl that it can start much easier. Can you in a bowl?
That one, sir?
Yeah, man.
As you were coming over, he was telling me about the van and how to operate it better because I was doing it wrong. So he's passing on his knowledge to me, hoping that I pass it on to the next generation.
Are you proud of your grandpa?
Yes, I'm very proud.
Uncertain whether the car will survive long enough to see the next generation, the engine is on the verge of imploding.
The vehicle is overheating and it's boiling. So right now I'm waiting on it to cool down to throw some water into the radiator. Well, if it doesn't turn out, we might have to push it go out the road, put it in neutral and let it run down the hill.
Their harvest is still a long way from being delivered. On the other side of the Blue Mountains, Burro, the tour guide, is also wondering if the 4x4 he's hired will hold up on the trail. He's looking for new places to show tourists. He goes to the Maroon community where many descendants of African slaves live.
Blue Mountains and the Maroons are very important when it comes to the history of Jamaica because the mountains are where they usually go to escape away from the slavery that we were enduring at the time. And the Maroons came together and ran away into the mountains.
In 1655, when the English took Jamaica from the Spanish, the African slaves, exploited in sugar plantations, fled to the mountains. But instead of staying hidden, they took up arms to free the new slaves brought by the British. Burro has an appointment with the chief of the Maroon community.
Blessed, blessed. Rastafari. Give thanks, right? Yes, sir, I am a Burro, the tour guide, now coming from St. Andrew, you know.
Right?
Rastafari.
Morton, and then it was typical Maroon way, say Aquaba.
True.
Colonel Sterling has prepared a little surprise for him that will surely be a hit with the tourists.
Have out there.
True.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yo!
Whoa. Well, when our foreparents were fighting, they had to find ways and means to outwit and to outsmart the British Army. So one of those ways was to camouflage themselves in this cocoon when they're making their ambush. So that is why we call this cocoon the warrior bush.
Stories and legends taking place in these beautiful surroundings. With Colonel Sterling, Burro will have something to entertain the tourists with.
This is the healing pool. In the past, when you were going into battle, warriors would be prepared and they would be given a cut and they would come here and they dip.
What's the purpose of this now? Throwing the rum in the water?
Yeah, that's how you appease the ancestors, because it is their place and you ask them for their guidance and to give you for health and strength.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking the tourists is gonna be excited to see what happened here like hundreds of years ago, how the Maroons managed to overpower and get their freedom. Because I am, and I'm a Jamaican and live here all the time, and I've never seen anything like this.
British slavery and oppression have left their mark on the Jamaican people. Out of this suffering, a movement was born in the 1920s that is known all over the world. Rastafari. Considered as a religion, its aim is to bring the descendants of slaves closer to their African roots. Joe is a Rasta. He tries to convert new followers when he can.
Them ask him a question, are you God? And listen where the man said, be still and know that I am he.
You said something a while ago. You said something about immortal.
When Christ born 2,000 years ago, did Christ sit up on the throne of David?
No.
They ask you a question. Answer the question. Good. Then if me, I tell you now, so the man must come back the second time.
We can't understand why he's shouting like that.
Because the fire get hot. You light a little fire and the fire get hot. So it starts to blaze and consume.
No, I'm not saying that my God is a God. I'm not saying that anyone else's God is not God. Because I am not sure. But my teaching is different.
The Rastafarian religion is a mixture of Old Testament and legend, so sometimes it's not so easy to convince people. But his dedication draws admiration from his wife Gilda and his 2 children.
I'm proud of my husband of what he's doing, spreading the good news about Rastafari. People who are not Rastas, they are blind to the truth. And Rastas is here to tell them the truth and show them the way.
It just so happens that today is a sacred day, perhaps the most important one for Rastas around the world. Joe and his family head for the Blue Mountains, where they will meet up with other followers to celebrate the anniversary of their Messiah's rise to power. But once again, the Blue Mountains are giving the travellers a hard time.
It's a rough road. We're going down the rough road. It's a rugged road. The road is so rough. A rugged road. The road is so tough. But we still are trod on.
Joe and his wife laugh about it, but they are careful. The slightest deviation can lead them straight into the ravine, like this driver.
A car drive off the road down there, but the driver down dead. You don't go shake up.
Well, maybe it's drop asleep, we don't know what happened. But the corner here very dangerous. Right off, man. All of that right off.
Shocked by the accident, some travellers have gone off-road. With a good command of the wheel and a bit of divine help, Joe offers to help the driver out.
You want me to drive it? Yeah.
Oh, watch him now, watch him, watch him.
Yeah, man, give me a push.
A few extra hands don't go unappreciated.
Well, basically it's rough down there, but we get it out by Jawil, you know. My wife trouble me and call me King Kong sometime.
You behave like, It's very strong.
50 kilometres and 3 hours of driving later, their destination is in sight. "200 Rastas gather here to protect Kingston, the capital, from any violence.
We love the up in the mountain. No pollution, no cussing, no gunshot, nothing. It's just peace and love and unity.
Tonight, the Rastas celebrate the arrival of their Messiah. The story begins in the 1920s. A black leader often uttered the phrase, "Look to Africa, where a black king must be crowned." His prophecy came true 10 years later when Haile Selassie became Emperor of Ethiopia. The movement then took the name that the emperor had before ascending the throne, Ras Tafari Mekonnen. And to communicate with him, Rastas smoked the sacred herb, ganja.
I smoke it to meditate, to keep calm. We just meditate on positiveness, meditate on love.
And with the drugs, some rather fantastic stories come about.
Bible is a fiction because them call them a UFO, but we have seen them with the eyes. Yeah man, coming from Sabbath, one night we come and it was all around the place, Flying around. Yeah man, flying around, man. And we see it in the city too.
For the Rastas, God is not a Havana smoker, but he shows signs to humans through the mist. As evening falls, everyone waits for a sign from the sky or from space. On the other side of the Blue Mountains, Cheese and his grandfather wouldn't mind receiving some divine help, but tonight there will be no miracle. The old 4x4 can't go any further.
What in it?
Yes, man.
By the time it cools down, Cheese's arms and legs replace the engine. It's the only way to get to the village in time to sell their coffee before the humidity ruins it.
Very exhausting. I'm young. I have a lot of energy, but right now, I'm very tired. Very.
They've only got 15 kilometres to go, but they've already been working for 3 hours.
Every couple of minutes we have to be stopping, checking the battery, filling up the radiator with the water. It's kind of frustrating. We have to stop about 10 times or even more. And right now I just want to reach home. Just want to reach home.
Only when the engine starts again, it doesn't last more than a kilometre.
No, stop. No, let's stop.
After 5 hours of struggle, they finally arrive in the village. Exhausted, but relieved to sell their coffee. 20 euros for their hard work, but Cheese is not about to give up his grandfather's plantation. He even plans to expand it one day. Jamaicans are a mixture of cultures, as goes the nation's motto. Out of many, one people. The people have made the best of this multi-ethnic heritage, giving them the strength and positivity to move their country in the right direction.